Hi everyone. Today, helping those that are writing GCE and as well as those that are writing internal. So those are good groups. With me, I have a very simple question that did come in 2025. That was paper 1, GCE, and it came on question number 19. Alright, so if you see a question that reads the function, so this is coming from the topic called functions. Alright, so this is something very simple, and there are few principles that you have to understand to be able to tackle questions on this specific topic. Alright, so let's quickly jump into it and see how best we can come up with the solutions. Mind you, for this simple topic, we are going to be able to score 4 marks. That's if we understand all the principles that we have to apply. Okay, so as we can see, this part comes with 4 marks. So each time we're solving a function question in paper 1, mathematics, syllabus D, we're going to expect 4 marks. And that's a lot of marks that you cannot afford to lose. Okay, so let's jump into the solutions and see how best we can do this one. So I'm going to say solutions. Allow me to use this different marker. Okay, so let's read the question together. Question reads, the function f and g are defined by f of x. Alright, so reading functions is key. So this is not fx, but then f of x. Alright, so this one is read as f of x. Okay, so even this one, so I'm going to say not gx, but then g of x. Alright, so that's very simple and it's key. Okay, so the way you read numbers and the way you read letters, very different. So in mathematics, we read functions differently. So we're going to copy that one. We're collecting our data in short. Then we have another function, g of x, which is 1 minus 2x, right? And the first question asks us to find f inverse of x. Sweet, right? So how to find the inverse of a function? So in other words, for us to be able to find the inverse of a function, we need to have a concept of changing the subject of formula. Okay, so we're saying f inverse of x. This is what we don't know. So we know the function of f, which is this one here. So for us to be able to find the inverse, we should be able to make this x here the subject of the formula. So that's a basic concept. So we can let this part, since this part has an x of which we are looking for this side as well to be on one side of the equation. So we can look for a letter of our choice. So in my case, I'll just say y is equal to the right side. Okay, now this is just something that we've come up with to help us be able to solve this one. So here we're going to say we're making this the subject of formula. Okay, so when you're finding the inverse of a function, we're just making the subject of formula. So here you know that this is over 1, right? So that when you cross and you multiply, this is what you're going to get. And the 3 will come this side. So x will be 2y minus 3. Remember, the additive inverse of positive 3 is negative 3. Now, this guy is just something that we came up with. So, to be able to write now the function, the inverse of this function, we're going to say this f of x, since we have x here, so we're going to replace y as well with x. So, we'll get 1 mark just there. Okay, so this is pretty easy. Alright, now let's be able to look at how to find the composite function or multiplication of functions. Okay, so this is read as g of f of x. Okay, very simple. And we expect 2 marks for this. So here we're just multiplying two functions, g and f. But you have to understand to say g of f of x is never equal to f of g of x. Alright? So for functions, if you swap them, you're not going to get the same answer. Okay, so put in mind that this is not equal to this. Right? So what we are saying is we're getting the function of x, the entire function of x, and put it in the function of g. So the function of g is this one. So we're going to say g of f of x is equal to, okay, so the function of g, because f is coming second, so I'm getting this first. So 1 minus 2, then you leave brackets while you have x there, because we're saying now, where there's x, we're putting the entire function of f. Okay, so here, at this stage, you can even say this, so that you're at peace. Then, in the second step, so let me use a different marker so that you can see what's happening. So now you bring in f of x, alright? So which is this. Alright? So very simple. If you can see here, this is a fraction and you have a 2 outside that side, which is a whole number. So this is going to give us, when you multiply, this is just going to give us this. Right? Then you simplify this, you're going to get, alright? Then this one and this one, you understand to say, we're getting a big sign from a bigger number. So these are like things. So we're going to have negative x, negative 2. And this is going to be our answer. And just like that, we get our 2 marks, which is very simple. So this is our function, g of f of x. Alright? So let me just create some space here and be able to solve the last part of the question. So here we're targeting 1 mark only. Very easy. So this is going to be g of f of x, of which we already know. We've gotten the answer here. Okay, so we're using the answer that we found on part B to be able to find g of f of negative 7. So here where there is x, we're saying we're just putting negative 7. So g of f of negative 7 is going to be negative. So here we're putting this minus x. Okay, so this one now is going to give us a positive, right? And from there now we know that we're getting a 5. Okay, now for some examiners, you discover that this question could be different from the other questions that you're going to be able to find in some past papers. So what some examiners do is, they're not going to give you this function. They're just going to ask you to find this one exact. So it means that it's a 2-step question. So what you have to do first, you go to g of f of x, then that's when you'll be able to find this. So if in that case, you even find that the marks here will change from maybe 1 to 2, because the examiner is expecting you to go first to g of f of x. That's when you plug in the value to be able to find the solution. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for you to be able to learn more as we upload more content this time around. And thank you for your support. Make sure you just comment, like, and share on both of our platforms that we are posting this content. Thank you so much. Cheers.